Welcome back, Time Cruisers. I'm your host, R.R. Slugger, and today we return to take a look at the Hypno Cruiser. This set has two different numbers assigned to it, 6492 and 1853. If you remember our last episode, you might be able to guess why. Anyways, let's take it for a spin. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Hypno Cruiser gives us all of the fun of Time Cruisers condensed into a small and affordable set. If you've never given the series a fair shake before and are looking to try it out, this is where to start. Given my previous statement, I'm sure you can imagine my dismay when I see the Hypno Cruiser routinely included on various all-time worst LEGO set lists online, when I believe the exact opposite to be true. Given the surface-level criticism and blatant plagiarism on display here, I think it's safe to say that these people have never held this set in their hands before, which is a shame because I'd like to say that the Hypno Cruiser is actually one of the best LEGO sets from 1996. But because I don't own all of the sets I'm comparing it against, I won't make that claim. I'd like to, but I won't. But I'd like to, but I won't. Getting into the characters now, Tim makes another appearance here, but the Hypno Cruiser is more notable for introducing us to Dr. Cyber, the mad inventor himself. I love his torso print, though I have to say it's really difficult to get one in as good condition as this. I must have a dozen or so, and all of my extras have ink defects. It must have been some sort of widespread issue with the prints. An unexpected addition to this set is the inclusion of Ali, our simple simian compatriot. I feel like this is a pretty generous effort on the part of LEGO to add another character to this small set, but it is appreciated. The Hypno Cruiser serves as the introduction to a number of Time Cruiser staples, most notably the Hypno Disc. Spinning this red and white dish is the secret to extended journeys through time, and most of the remaining sets in this series feature the Hypno Disc in some manner, even the Time Twisters. An intricate rubber band system connects the front axle to the Hypno Disc and the Hypno Disc to the rear propeller. My favorite aspect of all this is how each element turns at a different ratio, allowing the mechanism to appear more dynamic as a result. Rolling the Hypno Cruiser across a table is made easy by guiding it with a single finger on top of the engine. If you're wondering what these dark gray pins are for on the front wheels, well, they give you the ability to continue using the play features while in flight. They really thought of everything here. If we move to the interior of the vehicle, we can see at the center of its dual steering wheel design, our first look at Dr. Cyber's transcendental reception machine. This device allows the user to receive signals from the past and future by tuning it to different resonant frequencies. I'll discuss these large yellow jets a little later on, but the other notable parts are these rear wheels, which were actually a fairly new piece at the time and were quite rare in system sets. This is my favorite wheel design LEGO has ever created. I just love the inner rim and tread details. Sadly, this piece was retired only 10 years later, but luckily we got to see it in a variety of colors. These red dragon wings add a good amount of flair to the rear of the vehicle. I didn't really comment on the dragon wing rudder last episode, but this piece is a common sight in the Time Cruiser series. This won't be the last time we see it. The final aspect of note is the single axle trailer that can be hitched to the rear of the Hypno Cruiser. With this trailer comes yet another mainstay element of Time Cruisers. I mentioned in the Rocket Racer episode that Timmy couldn't stay in the past long without disguises, right? Well, this is what I meant. The Time Cruisers blend into their new surroundings by donning the hats worn by local denizens. Frankly, this is so cute. To our eyes, they stick out like a sore thumb, but Timmy and the Doctor think they're inconspicuous. I love it. As an A-full, or even a young LEGO enthusiast back in '96, the Time Cruiser series was and is a great way to get your hands on old accessories. With the Hypno Cruiser, we receive a pair of space helmets, pirate hats, and medieval garb, with this forestman cap perhaps being the most noteworthy. All of these hats can be stored in the glass container and accessed with ease once the Time Cruisers have reached their destination. I think the single most endearing aspect of this trailer is how incredibly mundane it is. The Hypno Cruiser also has a very gray aesthetic, but this is used to better accentuate the vibrancy of the outlandish colored pieces. In contrast, the trailer is just gray, and doesn't even have matching wheels to the main build. I get the distinct impression that Dr. Cyber just went down to 3777's equivalent of a U-Haul and rented this trailer for their adventures. It even connects a power line to the Hypno Cruiser so the brake lights work. Like, come on, that's incredible. The last thing you want while cruising through Zero Time is to get rear-ended. There is so much to love here, and I know I've said it earlier, but this is the set to get. What about modifications? Well, here's the big one. In the stock model, these seats are just too low, and it becomes a common occurrence to lose one's legs down there. Luckily, with the addition of two 33909s, we not only raise the seats up, but we also eliminate half of the clutch power causing the issue in the first place. Of course, the original Hypno Cruiser was 21 years too early to use this piece, but who's to say Dr. Cyber couldn't jump ahead and pick a couple up? They truly are a game changer. Like some of the previous sets we've looked at, I've also made some extensive modifications to the Hypno Cruiser before. I do feel that one of these is worthy of mention. You know that scene at the end of Back to the Future where Doc Brown returns from 2015 with the future additions to the DeLorean? Well, I wanted to create something similar here, a future version of the Hypno Cruiser, complete with rounded slopes and new gray. I've got to say, I'm pretty proud of the results. Just like with the Rocket Racer, there is an Explorian Time Cruiser combination model for the Hypno Cruiser from the same issue of LEGO Mania magazine. This one utilizes the pieces from 6938 Scorpion Detector and seemingly creates two new vessels from the mix. Let's see how they turned out. Honestly, not great, but let's start with some positive impressions first. I like how the two original sets disappear into these models. The thematic influences are obvious, but neither one strongly resembles the starting material, which is not something you can say of all LEGO combiners. Focusing on the first of the two craft, the Hypnodisc VTOL engines are a huge standout feature to me, as is the temporal telescope on the dorsal hull. I tried my best with the ventral side of things, but it was really difficult to tell what was going on from the single reference picture. And, of course, it wouldn't be an alternate build out of a LEGO magazine without some illegal building techniques. I don't think I need to elaborate here. A photo is worth 1,000 words. The second craft pales somewhat to the first, but still features a few interesting aspects. One element that the Explorians are especially excited about are these Aqua Booster rockets, referring to the large yellow jets from the Hypno Cruiser. I think the implication here is that they were originally seen in the Aquazone theme, but believe it or not, they are set exclusive to the Hypno Cruiser. Time Cruisers as a series gets a lot of flack online for supposedly being made out of leftover pieces from other themes. While it is true that many parts in this series have appeared elsewhere, we also shouldn't ignore the set exclusive elements or the pieces seeing production in a new color. One final matter to address with the Hypno Cruiser is the alternate set number I mentioned earlier. If you recall how the Time Tunnelator had a separate set number to distinguish when it was packaged with the free time machine, well, something very similar happens here. Some releases of the Hypno Cruiser were packaged with a free Time Cruiser storage tub. I love the shade of purple chosen here, and the Time Cruiser's sticker and molded insignia is a nice touch. Did you know that they are stackable with other similar containers? It's true. I checked. Nowadays, it's not easy to come by these containers, but for what they are, I think they're great, and these two get a lot of use around my house. Much like my unfiltered love for the granite grinder in my previous series, I'm really drawn to the best bang for your buck sets in a theme. It should be no surprise then that I consider the Hypno Cruiser to be just that. Not only the best Time Cruiser set, but also a standout example of great mid-90s Lego. I strongly recommend tracking this one down for yourself, and you won't even need a time machine to find a great price. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and time flies when you're having fun.